Have you ever stopped to think why your life feels like an endless war? Why do people around you live in peace while you are being torn apart from the inside? There is a brutal truth no one will tell you. God does not test just anyone. He chooses specific souls for a greater purpose, and the final test comes disguised as addiction. Carl Jung discovered something disturbing. Your addiction is not weakness, it is the last exam before your transformation. While millions live mediocre and comfortable lives, you were selected for something that requires total destruction of your ego. Your addiction to substances, to toxic people, to self-destructive patterns is not accidental. It is the divine instrument breaking who you think you are to reveal who you really need to be. If you are watching this now, it is not a coincidence. You were chosen. And what is destroying you on the outside is forging something immortal on the inside. Prepare yourself, because what you are about to discover here will change everything. There is something happening to you right now that most people will never understand. While they scroll through their phones feeling empty, while they chase comfort and avoid any real pain, you are being dragged through something that feels like hell. You wake up every morning knowing you should stop. You promise yourself this is the last time. You swear you will change. And then the craving comes back, stronger than before, pulling you under like a wave you cannot fight. This is not random. This is not punishment for being weak. This is the final examination that only the chosen few must pass. Jung spent his entire life studying why certain people are forced to descend into darkness while others float through life untouched. He discovered that the universe does not waste profound suffering on ordinary souls. If you are being tested at this level, if your addiction has brought you to your knees, if you have lost everything and still cannot stop, you need to understand something critical. You are not broken beyond repair. You are being prepared for something that requires you to die and be reborn. The addiction is not the enemy, it is the fire, and fire does not destroy gold, it purifies it. Every single day you battle this thing, you are proving something to forces beyond your understanding. You are showing that you can be trusted with power because you have been humbled by powerlessness. You are demonstrating that you can lead others out of darkness because you refuse to give up in your own. The people who judge you, who look down on you, who think you are simply making bad choices, they have no idea what is actually happening. They live on the surface of life. You have been pulled into the depths, and only in the depths can transformation occur. Think about what addiction really does. It strips away every mask you wear. It destroys your ability to pretend. It removes all the lies you tell yourself about who you are and what you want. When you are in the grip of something you cannot control, when you are on your knees begging for relief, when you are completely powerless, that is when your real self emerges. Not the person you pretend to be at work. Not the image you project on social media, not the role you play for your family. The raw, naked truth of your soul is revealed in your worst moments, and that revelation is exactly what God needs to see before He can use you. Most people go their entire lives without ever meeting their true self. They die having only known their persona, their social mask, their comfortable identity. But you do not have that luxury anymore. Your addiction has ripped away every layer of pretense. It has shown you what you are capable of at your worst. It has revealed the beast inside you, the shadow that Jung knew lived in every human being. And here is what nobody tells you about that shadow. It contains not just your darkness, but your greatest untapped power. The test is not whether you can stop. Millions of people stop addictions through willpower, through programs, through sheer determination. The real test is whether you can stop and then turn around and face what the addiction was covering up. Because your addiction has been protecting you from something far more terrifying than the substance or behavior itself. It has been protecting you from your destiny. It has been shielding you from the crushing weight of your true purpose. Every time you use, every time you relapse, every time you fall back into the pattern, you are running from the same thing, the call to become who you were actually meant to be. God does not break people for entertainment. He breaks people when they are strong enough to be rebuilt into something greater. Your addiction is the hammer, your ego is the stone, and what emerges from this process is not a perfect person who never struggles again. What emerges is a warrior who knows exactly how dark it can get and chooses light anyway. What emerges is a leader who can guide others through hell because they have the map tattooed on their soul. What emerges is someone who can hold space for other people's pain because their own pain taught them that suffering is not the end, it is the beginning. Right now, in this moment, you are closer to your breakthrough than you have ever been. Not because the addiction is gone, not because you finally figured it out, but because you are starting to see it differently. You are starting to understand that this war you are fighting is not a sign that you are cursed. It is proof that you are chosen. And the intensity of your test is directly proportional to the magnitude of what you are being prepared for. Everyone wants to be special. Everyone wants to believe they were put here for a reason. But nobody wants the process that actually makes you special. Nobody signs up for the breaking, yet here you are, shattered into pieces, wondering why God allowed this to happen if He supposedly loves you. The answer is going to sound cruel at first, but it is the most loving thing you will ever hear. God breaks you because you cannot be used while you are whole. Your current self, the person you were before the addiction took everything. That version of you was never going to fulfill your purpose. That person was too attached to their own image, too invested in what other people thought, too comfortable with mediocrity, too afraid of real power. The addiction came into your life like a wrecking ball, and it demolished every false foundation you built your identity on. Your career, your relationships, your self-respect, your health, maybe even your freedom. It took everything that you thought made you who you are, and in that destruction, something crucial happened. You discovered that you are still here. Beneath all the things you lost, beneath all the identities that crumbled, you are still breathing. You are still conscious. You are still fighting. This is what Jung called the encounter with the self, not the self you show the world, but the eternal self that exists beyond all roles and achievements and possessions. Most people never meet this self because they never lose everything. They die clinging to their accomplishments, their status, their comfort. But you were forced to let go. The addiction made you let go. And in that letting go, you touched something that cannot be destroyed by any external circumstance. You found the indestructible core of your being. But why does this process have to be so painful? Why could God not just gently guide you to this realization? Because transformation does not happen through comfort, it happens through crisis. Jung discovered that every mythological hero had to descend into the underworld before they could ascend to their throne. Every spiritual tradition speaks of the dark night of the soul that precedes enlightenment. Every great leader in history was broken by something before they became who they needed to be. Your addiction is your underworld. Your rock bottom is your dark night. And you are not stuck there. You are passing through. The breaking serves another purpose that most people miss entirely. It teaches you empathy at a level that cannot be learned any other way. When you have been on your knees, when you have begged for help, when you have felt completely powerless, you develop a capacity to understand human suffering that comfortable people simply do not have. You can look into someone's eyes and see their hidden pain, because you know what hidden pain feels like. You can sit with someone in their worst moment without trying to fix them or judge them, because you remember when you needed someone to just sit with you. This empathy is not a soft skill. It is a superpower, and it only comes through your own descent. God also breaks His chosen because leadership requires humility, and humility only comes through humiliation. You cannot lead people if you think you are better than them. You cannot guide others through darkness if you secretly believe you are above their struggles. Your addiction humiliated you. It showed you that you are not special, not immune, not in control. It proved that you are just as vulnerable as everyone else. And that humiliation, as painful as it was, made you safe to lead. It made you trustworthy. Because now you will never look down on someone who is struggling. You will never dismiss someone's pain as weakness. You have been where they are. You know what it costs to keep fighting when everything in you wants to quit. There is also a mysterious exchange that happens during the breaking process. As your false self dies, as your ego is shattered, as everything you thought mattered is revealed to be temporary, something ancient and powerful wakes up inside you. Jung called it the individuation process, the journey to become your true self. But it feels less like becoming and more like remembering. You start to recall a version of yourself that existed before the world told you who to be. A wild, untamed, powerful version that got buried under years of conditioning and expectations and fear. Your addiction, in its brutal way, is digging that version of you back up. It is burning away everything that is not essentially you. The breaking also creates capacity. Think of it like this. A small cup can only hold a small amount of water. If you pour more than it can hold, it overflows, and the water is wasted. Your purpose, your destiny, the mission you were created for, it is too big for who you were before. You did not have the capacity to hold it. So God expanded your capacity the only way possible, through suffering. Every time you thought you could not take any more and you survived anyway, your capacity grew. Every time you hit bottom and climbed back up, you proved you could handle more. Every relapse taught you something about yourself that success never could. You are being stretched. And yes, stretching hurts. But you are not being destroyed. You are being enlarged to hold something greater than you can currently imagine. While your addiction was tearing your life apart, something else was happening that you probably missed. You were meeting parts of yourself that you had kept locked away for years, maybe your entire life. Jung had a name for these hidden parts: the shadow. It is everything you decided was unacceptable about yourself. Every dark thought, every selfish desire, every aggressive impulse, every shameful feeling. You buried all of it deep inside and pretended those parts did not exist. You became the good person, the responsible one, the one who always does the right thing. And your shadow waited in the darkness, growing stronger every day. You ignored it. Your addiction was the shadow's way of forcing you to pay attention. It was not trying to destroy you. It was trying to integrate itself back into your consciousness. Because here is what nobody understands about the shadow. It does not just contain your darkness. It contains your disowned power, your repressed passion, your authentic desires, your real strength, everything you were taught to suppress because it made other people uncomfortable. Everything you buried because you wanted to be loved and accepted. All of that raw, unfiltered life force got trapped in your shadow, and it turned into addiction. Think about what happens when you use. For a moment, you feel powerful. For a moment, you feel free. For a moment, you do not care what anyone thinks. For a moment, you are completely yourself without apology. That is not the substance talking. That is your shadow giving you a taste of who you really are underneath all the conditioning. The tragedy is that you have been chasing that feeling through something external when it was inside you all along. Your addiction became the only way you knew how to access your own power, and that is why it is so hard to let go. Jung spent decades helping people understand that you cannot kill the shadow. You cannot overcome it or defeat it or transcend it. The only path forward is integration. You have to stop fighting against yourself and start learning from the parts of you that scare you the most. Your rage is not just destructive, it is also your boundary-setting power. Your selfishness is not just greed, It is also your ability to prioritize your own needs. Your darkness is not just evil, it is also your depth, your mystery, your capacity for transformation. Every quality you hate about yourself has a gift hidden inside it. When you were in active addiction, you probably did things that horrified you. You lied, you manipulated, you hurt people you loved, you became someone you did not recognize. Those actions came from your shadow, taking control because you had ignored it for so long. But here is the crucial insight. Your shadow was not trying to destroy your life. It was trying to wake you up. It was forcing you to see that you are not the perfect image you have been trying to maintain. You are complex, contradictory, capable of both tremendous good and terrible harm. You are human, and accepting your full humanity, including the dark parts, is the only way to access your full power. Most people spend their lives terrified of their shadow. They project it onto others, seeing their own darkness in everyone around them. They become judgmental, rigid, fearful. They build their entire identity around not being like those bad people over there. But the chosen ones, the people God tests with addiction, they do not get that option. They are forced to face their shadow directly. They cannot pretend it does not exist because it has been running their life. They cannot project it onto others because they have seen it operating in themselves. This is brutal, but it is also a gift. Because once you face your shadow, once you see it clearly, once you understand it, you can finally stop being controlled by it. Integration does not mean acting on every dark impulse. It means acknowledging that those impulses exist without shame. It means understanding where they come from. It means finding healthy ways to express the energy behind them. Your aggression can become assertiveness. Your manipulation can become strategic thinking. Your selfishness can become self-care. Your addiction taught you that you have tremendous drive and focus. You were just pointing it in the wrong direction. Now you get to choose where that energy goes. There is something else in your shadow that most people never discover: your unlived life. All the dreams you gave up on, all the risks you did not take, all the authentic expressions you suppressed, all the ways you made yourself smaller to fit into other people's expectations. Those unlived possibilities did not just disappear. They turned into restlessness, into dissatisfaction, into addiction. You were trying to numb the pain of not living your real life, and that pain will never go away through substances or behaviors. It only goes away when you finally start living the life your soul actually wants. Your shadow knows who you are supposed to become. It has been carrying that information all along, waiting for you to be ready to receive it. Every time you hit rock bottom, every time you relapsed, every time you thought you could not go on, your shadow was showing you what happens when you live against your true nature. It was not punishing you. It was redirecting you. And now, after everything you have been through, you are finally ready to listen. You are finally humble enough to admit you do not have all the answers. You are finally broken enough to be rebuilt according to a better design. Your shadow is not your enemy. It is your guide through the darkness, and if you follow it all the way to the end, it will lead you directly to your purpose. You have probably noticed that most people do not understand what you are going through. They offer advice that sounds reasonable but feels completely useless. Just stop. Get some willpower. Think about what you are doing to yourself. Choose to be better. They mean well, but they are speaking a language that does not apply to your situation. They are giving instructions for climbing stairs when you are trying to survive a hurricane. And the reason they cannot understand is simple. They were not built for what you are being put through. There is a hierarchy of consciousness that Jung mapped throughout his career. Most people live at the level of the persona, the social mask. They are whoever their culture tells them to be. They follow the rules. They do not ask deep questions. They are content with surface pleasures and conventional success. There is nothing wrong with this. It is a perfectly valid way to live. But it is not the only way, and it is not your way. You were designed for something that requires a different level of consciousness entirely. Then there are people who wake up to the fact that the persona is not real. They start questioning everything. They feel alienated from normal life because they can see through the game everyone else is playing. This awakening is uncomfortable, but most people who experience it eventually find a new identity to settle into. They become spiritual seekers or rebels or intellectuals. They find a new mask that feels more authentic, and they wear that instead. This is still not where you are headed. You are being prepared for what Jung called individuation, the process of becoming a whole, integrated self. This is rare. This requires you to let go of every identity, every mask, every comfortable story about who you are. It requires you to descend into chaos and sit there until something new emerges from within. Most people cannot do this. They lack the psychological strength to endure that much uncertainty. They would rather cling to a false identity than face the void of having no identity at all. But you do not have a choice anymore. Your addiction already destroyed your false identity. You are already in the void. The only question is whether you will run back to another mask or finally allow your true self to emerge. The pain you are experiencing is not just physical or emotional. It is existential. It is the pain of dying while you are still alive. Your old self is being dissolved, and nothing concrete has emerged to replace it yet. You are in between worlds. You are no longer who you were, but you are not yet who you are becoming. This liminal space, this in-between place, it is unbearable for most people. They will do anything to escape it. They will grab onto any belief system, any relationship, any distraction that makes them feel solid again. But you are being asked to stay in the dissolution. You are being asked to remain formless until the right form emerges naturally. Common souls also cannot survive this because they do not have a strong enough connection to something greater than themselves. When everything falls apart, when every external support is removed, you need an internal anchor. You need to know somewhere deep inside that you are connected to something eternal. Jung called it the self with a capital S. Some people call it God, some call it the universe, some call it consciousness. The name does not matter. What matters is that you feel held by something bigger than your personal life, and that feeling does not come from belief. It comes from direct experience. Your suffering is giving you that direct experience. Every time you hit bottom and somehow survive, you are proving to yourself that there is a ground beneath the ground. There is something holding you that cannot be seen or explained. Another reason common souls cannot handle this level of testing is because it requires you to lose everything and keep going. Most people derive their sense of self from their achievements, their relationships, their possessions, their status. Take those things away, and they fall apart completely. They do not know who they are without their job title, their family role, their social position. But you have lost all of that, and you are still here. You have been stripped down to nothing, and you are still fighting. That proves you are not common. That proves there is something in you that exists independently of external circumstances. And that something is what God is trying to bring to the surface. You are also being trained in a kind of psychological endurance that most people never develop. Normal life does not require you to face your demons every single day. Normal life allows you to avoid, to distract, to pretend everything is fine. But addiction does not allow that. It forces you to confront your pain over and over again. It makes you sit with discomfort until you learn how to breathe through it. It teaches you that you can survive things you thought would kill you. This training is brutal, but it is also invaluable. Because whatever you are being prepared for, it is going to require someone who does not run when things get hard. It is going to require someone who has already been to hell and knows the way back. The level of pain you are enduring is also filtering out everyone who is not supposed to walk this path with you. Fair weather friends disappear. Shallow relationships crumble. People who only loved the image of you cannot handle the reality of you. This feels like abandonment, but it is actually protection. You are being cleared of everyone who would slow you down or distract you from your real work. The people who stay, the ones who see you at your worst and choose to remain. Those are your true allies. Those are the ones who were meant to be part of your journey. Everyone else was just passing through. Jung believed that the psyche naturally moves toward wholeness, the same way a body naturally heals from a wound. But that healing process can be incredibly painful. When a bone breaks, it has to be reset before it can heal properly. Sometimes it has to be broken again if it healed wrong the first time. Your soul is being reset right now. It is being broken in all the places it healed incorrectly. All the coping mechanisms that got you this far but cannot take you any further, they are being dismantled. All the beliefs that protected you as a child but limit you as an adult, they are being challenged. All the identities that felt safe but were ultimately false, they are being destroyed. This is not cruelty, this is surgery. And yes, surgery hurts. But you do not perform surgery on someone who is going to die anyway. You perform surgery on someone worth saving. Everything you have been through, every moment of pain, every relapse, every failure, every humiliation, it has been pointing you toward something. Your addiction is not random chaos. It is a coded message about your purpose, and you are finally ready to decode it. Jung discovered that symptoms, including addiction, are not just problems to be solved. They are also communications from the unconscious, trying to tell you something crucial about your path. Look at what your addiction took from you. Look at what it cost you. Now flip that around and look at what it taught you. You learned about powerlessness, which means you now understand humility at a bone-deep level. You learned about desperation, which means you now have compassion for people in impossible situations. You learned about shame, which means you can now hold space for others without judgment. You learned about hitting bottom, which means you know that survival is possible even when everything looks hopeless. Every single thing you lost, every single lesson you learned, it is preparing you for a very specific type of work in the world. Your mission is hidden in your wounds. The thing that almost destroyed you is the thing you are meant to heal in others. Not by preaching at them, not by telling them what to do, but by being living proof that transformation is possible. Your presence alone will communicate something to people who are suffering the same way you suffered. They will look at you and see that someone made it through. They will feel your energy and know that recovery is real. You will not even have to say much. Your existence will be the message, but it goes deeper than just helping other addicts. Your addiction was showing you a fundamental truth about human nature that you needed to understand for your real work. It was showing you that everyone is addicted to something. Some people are addicted to being right. Some are addicted to drama. Some are addicted to being victims. Some are addicted to control. Some are addicted to being needed. Your substance or behavior was just more obvious, more destructive, more impossible to hide. But the mechanism is the same. Everyone is using something to avoid feeling what they do not want to feel. Everyone is running from some part of themselves. You are not uniquely broken. You are just uniquely honest about your brokenness. This understanding is going to be essential for whatever you are called to do next. Because you will be working with people, and people are messy and complicated and addicted to their own patterns. You will not be shocked by this. You will not judge them for it. You will recognize it immediately because you have seen it in yourself. And that recognition will allow you to meet them where they are instead of where you think they should be. This is a rare and valuable skill. Most people in positions of leadership or influence are unconsciously acting out their own unresolved issues while trying to help others. But you have been forced to resolve yours. You have been through the fire. You know what transformation actually costs. Your addiction also showed you your capacity for obsession, for dedication, for single-minded focus. You pursued your addiction with more commitment than most people pursue their dreams. You organized your entire life around it. You sacrificed everything for it. That is not weakness. That is incredible power pointed in the wrong direction. Now imagine what happens when you redirect that same intensity toward your actual purpose. Imagine what you could build, what you could create, what you could accomplish if you brought that level of commitment to something life-giving instead of life-taking. This is why God allows the addiction. It reveals your capacity before giving you the target. There is also something in the specific nature of your addiction that holds clues about your mission. If your addiction was about numbing pain, your mission might be about helping people feel again. If your addiction was about escape, your mission might be about helping people face reality. If your addiction was about control, your mission might be about teaching surrender. If your addiction was about seeking approval, your mission might be about authentic self-expression. Look at what you were really searching for underneath the behavior. That is what you are meant to provide for others, not through the addiction, but through your transformed life. Jung believed that every individual has a unique role to play in the collective evolution of humanity. You are not just here to live a nice life and die peacefully. You are here to contribute something that only you can contribute. Your specific combination of experiences, insights, wounds, and strengths creates a unique offering that the world needs. But you could not access that offering while you were pretending to be someone you are not. You had to be broken down to your essential self. You had to discover what remains when everything else is stripped away. Now you know. Now you have something real to offer. Your mission will probably not look like you imagined it would. It will not be about being perfect or having all the answers or never struggling again. It will be about showing up as your whole self, including your scars. It will be about using your mess as your message. It will be about turning your pain into purpose. And the people you are meant to serve, they are not looking for someone who has it all figured out. They are looking for someone who has been where they are and found a way through. That someone is you. The divine mission is also not just about external work. It is about internal alignment. It is about becoming so integrated, so whole, so at peace with yourself that your mere presence raises the consciousness of everyone around you. Jung called this individuation, but you can also think of it as becoming fully human, not superhuman, not perfect, just completely, authentically, unapologetically yourself. And when you reach that state, when you stop performing and start being, you become a beacon. People will be drawn to you without understanding why. They will feel something around you that they cannot name. That something is the energy of a soul that has completed its test and claimed its power. You have been fighting your addiction like it is an invader, an enemy, something foreign that attached itself to you. You have been trying to defeat it, overcome it, get rid of it. And every time you fight it, it gets stronger. Every time you resist it, it persists. This is the paradox that Jung understood better than almost anyone. What you resist, you empower. The more you hate your addiction, the more power you give it. The more you try to destroy it, the more it controls you. The shift happens when you stop trying to defeat your addiction and start trying to understand it. When you stop asking, how do I get rid of this, and start asking, what is this trying to tell me? Your addiction made sense. It was your best attempt to cope with something unbearable. It was your solution to a problem you did not know how to solve any other way. It was not a moral failure. It was a survival strategy. Accepting the war means accepting that you are not going to wake up one day completely healed, with no more cravings, no more triggers, no more struggle. It means understanding that you are in a lifelong process of integration and growth. The people who succeed are not the ones who never struggle. They are the ones who keep showing up even when they do struggle. They are the ones who fall down and get back up, fall down and get back up, until eventually they spend more time standing than falling. When you accept the war, you also accept yourself as a warrior, not someone who is broken and needs to be fixed, but someone who is already strong, who has already proven their strength by surviving what they have survived. You are no longer the victim of addiction. You are the hero of a transformation story that is still being written. Your purpose is your reason. Your mission is waiting for you on the other side of this test.